Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome. If you're with us in the room, it's great to see you. If you're on Zoom, it's great to see you all this morning or this afternoon. And if you're listening or watching later, we're so glad you're with us. So as you may know, CSL's 2023 theme is Living Out Loud. Not sitting quietly in the corner, but making some noise. Our theme for the month of August is My Passion, My Purpose. And this morning I'm going to be talking about awakening to our passion. So my question for you and for us is, what makes your heart sing? What makes your tail wag? What lights you up? Whatever expression you want to use, but just what really, yes. And what makes you really angry? What hurts your heart? Because the passion, we normally think of passion as I was going to say a good thing, but I believe passion is a good thing either way. But what makes us really happy, and yes, I want to do that, and yes, I want to sing, or I want to do art, or I want to do something wonderful. But what hurts our hearts when we see young people sleeping in somebody's carport because they don't have a place to sleep in San Diego, or pets that are getting ready to be put down because they don't have a place to live, or whatever the case might be. So I would suggest for us that the passion that we're talking about this morning goes both ways, and if we feel it passionately, for lack of a better word, then that's part of our calling and an opportunity that we're being called to do something about it. So Rod Stewart's song Passion came to me in a blinding flash, and I was going to share some of the lyrics, and I listened to it on the way over this morning, but what I found was that was a little bit of a different theme perhaps than what I had in mind, and because I want to keep my job here, we're not sharing that song, but nonetheless. So my passion is I want to help, and I want to make a difference, and I want to make a difference to a lot of people, a lot of homeless pets, a lot of whatever the case might be, because we so often value, or we so often judge our success based on the number of people that we've touched. But I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida 3 weeks ago at the International New Thought Alliance conference. And one of the speakers shared this story that you probably all remember from before, but it's worth repeating. A young girl was walking along a beach upon which thousands of starfish had been washed ashore during a terrible storm. When she came to each starfish, she would pick it up and throw it back into the ocean. People watched her with amusement. Little girl, what are you doing? She had been doing this for some time when a man approached her and said, "Little girl, why are you doing this? Look at this beach. You can't save all these starfish. You can't even begin to make a difference." The girl seemed crushed, suddenly deflated, but after a few minutes, she bent down, picked up another starfish, and hurled it as far as she could back into the ocean. She looked up at the man and replied, "Well, I made a difference for that one." Yeah. So that's how we start, is one young person at a time, one homeless person at a time, one cat or dog or fish or bird or iguana or whatever, if you're working with animals, whatever it is, at a time. That's how we start, and the one becomes two, and the two become five, and so on. We can protest. We can go out and carry protest signs. We can dislike a post or make a comment on social media. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I get the idea, well, I've done my part. I made a snarky remark on Facebook. Well, that and $5 will buy you a coffee. You know, it's you know, for the people that saw that, it might or might not have changed their minds. But how important it is for us to recognize that, again, if whatever it is lights us up, again, in a what we judge as a positive or a negative way, that means there's an opportunity for us to make a difference by praying and then moving our feet. Because as we know, the universe can only do for us what it can do through us. You have wisdom and passion and experience and love that no one else has. No one else, up till this moment, no one else has lived the life that you've lived. No one else has had the experiences that you have had. And when we don't, I absolutely know that when we don't act on whatever that passion is, we are robbing the world of our wisdom and of our joy. And again, whether it's working with someone out in the world, whether it's doing our art or our gardening or our music or just whatever it is, if we're not following up on that and doing what we're called to do, we're not only missing out ourselves, but the world is missing out on the gifts that we have to share. Topher Kirby is an artist and writer, and he posts a lot on Facebook, and I love some of his quotes. I'll use a couple this morning. Whatever your passion is, whatever wakes you up and keeps you up late dreaming, that's the bit of magic you've been given in this life. Listen to it, go after it, and watch your world change forever. Have you ever been, I bet you have, and I bet you probably are doing it right now, that you're doing something in the world and at the end of the night, you fall in the bed just exhausted because you've been so busy out doing what you're doing, and you say, dang. I think I can say that from the pulpit. I did, so thank you, I appreciate that. That's what we're here for. That's what to do whatever it is that makes our tails wag, or do whatever, do something to make a difference, whether it's a small or a large way, toward whatever it is that bugs us, that bothers us about what's going on. Now, this passion, it might be something that you were born with, a talent, a skill, an idea. It might be as a result of something that you experienced or something that you didn't. You've heard me talk probably ad nauseum about my work with Urban Street Angels and the homeless 18 to 25-year-olds. And the reason we got started 11 years ago was because our founder, Eric Lovett, was pretty high up in the music program at Liberty University in Tennessee. And then they found out that he's gay. And they rejected him and kicked him out. And his family rejected him and kicked him out. And as a result of that, he recognized that experience of betrayal and abandonment and all of those other things. And so that's why he had the passion in his heart to start this organization. I have no clue about that, because my family loved me, welcomed me, accepted me way more than I welcomed and accepted myself. So I have and I've just never really had an experience where I've been rejected like that. So I'm the exact opposite of that. So what I know is, because I have no idea what you, homeless young person, have been through, so I want to do everything I can to help you heal whatever it is that you went through. So again, sometimes our passion comes from what we've experienced, and sometimes it's from what we didn't experience and have no idea about. But somehow, some way, it absolutely lights us up. Now, as responsible adults, and especially perhaps, I know, right? I know, I should have paused when I said that. As responsible adults, and as we get older, perhaps we just have this great idea, and I really want to, and I have a passion for, or this really bugs me and I want to, and our dear ones who are very concerned for us say, well, isn't that nice? But maybe just come sit down and have a cup of tea, or think about something else. They might also say and ask us, and maybe our egos would ask us, but what will they think? Ever had that, I just really want to go hitchhiking in Europe, or I just really want to go to Iceland. I want to go to Iceland, just so you know. Or whatever it is, and your ego and the still small voice didn't say it, because the still small voice always says yes to us, but your ego and the people who care about you are like, well, isn't that nice? Because what will they think? But consider this quote from, I love this book. This is from Radically Content by Jamie Varon. And she writes, what will they think is a four-word question that has killed more dreams and happiness than any other. Who is they? Who is they, and why do we care so much about what they think? Who is this faceless group of people that's going to come for us if we don't measure up to their ideal? And why are we not really readily encouraged to examine this idea we take as an absolute incontrovertible truth? The goal is to move that sound stand, because I can't see the screen. The goal is to be the most, sorry. Yeah. What a good idea. Thank you so much. There we go. The goal is to be the most expressed version of yourself. You should feel free to jump in the pool with your bathing suit on, and I would suggest, if it's appropriate, or your bathing suit off. To wear sleeveless dresses, to love with abandon, to create the art that lights you up, to construct and build an entire life that is so you, there is no room for comparison. You deserve to love your life so much that it doesn't matter who affirms or denies you. Don't you love that? What will they think? How often do we detour or cul-de-sac our dreams or plans or goals because we're worried about what they will think? As we grow and mature, and potentially when we reach a certain age, we are encouraged to be responsible and practical and, have to save for the future. You're going to be, at some point, you're going to be on a fixed income. And if those two words in the same sentence ever come into your mind, I so invite you and encourage you to notice them and then say, "'Tain't so." That's, and you may remember the story about that. But when my husband Jerry, my late husband Jerry, was from Kentucky, and we'd go back and visit his family, who I love and adore, and I still see at least once a year. But they come from a different teaching. Some of them are Pentecostal, but they come from traditional Christianity, and it's much more of a negative, ain't it awful kind of a thing. And so when we'd leave their house to go on to the next one when we're visiting, our affirmation when we got into the car was, "Tain't so." And so my apologies for any English teachers in the room or listening online, because it's not good English, but "tain't so." That's my affirmation. "Tain't so." Fixed income. If you have that idea, I so invite you to look at that, because, quoting Edwin Gaines, if you live on a fixed income, who fixed it? If spirit is our source, if God is if we are abundant, if spirit is our source, then who fixed our income? We did, by our beliefs. And we can unfix it just as easily as we fixed it, and allow spirit to do what spirit does. Do we limit what we're going to do based on either what we've done before or what we know how to do? Have you ever, I just really want to do that, and I have no flippin' clue about how to do this, but I'm gonna take the first step, and then I'm gonna take the next step, and then the next step. Is it possible? If it keeps us awake at night, if we wake up in the morning with the thought of it, then it's possible. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the dream, we wouldn't have the idea. You might remember this quote from Alice in Wonderland. Alice is talking with the Queen. "I can't believe that," said Alice. "Can't you?" the Queen said in a pitying tone. "Can't you? Can't you? Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes." Alice laughed. "There's no use trying. One can't believe impossible things." "I dare say you haven't had much practice," said the Queen. "When I was younger, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." I love that. If there's a passion, if there's a calling, if it raises your blood pressure just a little, if it makes your heart beat just a little faster, if it just absolutely lights you up and you have no idea how it's going to happen, that's that dream and that passion and that possibility. So I have a picture. Come on. There we go. So Urban Street Angels started 11 years ago as an outreach to the streets, and timing is everything. And 2 of my beloved members of my congregation back 12 years ago that helped us buy socks for when Eric was creating Urban Street Angels as its own nonprofit organization are with us this morning. So I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much. Lucille and Marcia. So we started this organization. We literally did not have 2 dimes to rub together, but Eric and I got together and said, we have a passion for this, and if there is a way, no. We said, if we have a passion for this and we see the need for this, there must be a way. And he comes from more Disciples of Christ, but he's way more New Thought than he thinks he is. Which is so wonderful because, we just get along famously. Eric, if you're listening. But so we started with not 2 dimes to rub together. And then this organization in Coronado came to us and we said, well, we need $1,000 for whatever. And they said, okay, that's fine. But what do you really want? What do you really want? And we thought about it for a few minutes and said, well, we really want a van so we can go out to Ocean Beach and pick up kids and bring them to the overnight shelter. And so about 3 weeks later, we had a van. And that's been the experience for these 11 years, is absolutely the example of how this teaching works. Because when we have a passion for it, when we state our intention, the universe, Ernest Holmes, I think, said, our word does not return to us void. Something must happen when we state our intention. When we have that fire and that passion, something must happen. So historically, we've had the shelter where the youth, 18 to 25-year-olds, can come and stay for between 4 and 9 months as they're finding a job, as they're finding an apartment. But it's a shelter. It's a temporary situation. So last Monday, we moved 9 of our youth into this apartment building. Our first, thank you, our first ever. So this means that they are moving in, they have the keys, they're calling the gas and light company, to the SCG&E, and getting power. They're calling Cox or whoever to get the cable. It's their apartment. It's still under the Urban Street Angels umbrella, but it's their apartment. So we've taken many of them from couch surfing or sleeping in somebody's carport or not sure where they're going to sleep tonight to having their own place. So, and this is pretty cool because this is on Spring Street, about half a block south of Sprouts. So nice area, beautiful building, absolutely amazing. I am constantly amazed, and yet, well, of course. The universe says, well, of course. You stated your intention. You said what you wanted. Of course. Of course. So we're so excited about that. Albert Einstein wrote about imagination. And of course, that's where all this starts. Well, what if we could? What if I could? What if I could begin to stop or help to end or whatever it is? And Albert Einstein wrote, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. In your gardening, we have amazing gardeners in this room. In your art, we have amazing artists in this room. In your music, we have amazing musicians in this room. In your acting, in your cooking, in your whatever you're doing that just really lights you up, there is that wisdom and that creativity and that possibility for us. Now, sometimes we have that idea and, gee, I'd love to do that, but I don't know. I love the sacred I don't know. And may we regularly stretch and expand that muscle, that I don't know muscle, and allow Spirit to do what Spirit does and tell us and teach us and show us what's next. Because I don't need to see, I think it was, it'll come back to me. Never forget old, what's his name? Martin Luther King Jr., I think, said, you don't need to see the end of the staircase. You just need to see the next stair or the next step. So we do the next step, and then we do the next step, and then we do the next step. We don't need to explain. We don't need to worry about what will they think. All we need to know is that it's ours to do. It lights us up. This is our purpose. This is what we want. This is how we're guided, and allow ourselves to do what's next. As many of you know, and I stood on this platform about 2.5 years ago and said, I want a Tesla. I just want a Tesla. Scares the soup out of me, because I don't know. Boy, do I not know. I don't know how this works. I don't know how you charge it. I don't know who to call to get the charger put in. I don't know about these things. And I didn't need to, because today you need to do this. And then tomorrow you need to do this. And then all of a sudden the charger is installed. And then all of a sudden you're going to Carlsbad with your beloved and picking up your Tesla. And it's just, it's amazing. And the what this does for me, and I bet it does for you too, is when we step out of even the time zone of the comfort, not just your comfort zone, not just your box, not just your area code, but the time zone of your comfort. If you step out of the time zone of your comfort and say, I don't know how to do this, but there's some way I'm led to do this. There's some way that this is, I'm not going to make this happen. I'm going to allow this to happen. And we are always divinely guided and always supported in that passion and taught what's next. And so the good news is so you're going to plug it in and you will have done something wrong and it's going to catch the house on fire. Or you've done something wrong and it's going to blow up. Or you've screwed something up and you're going to ruin it. And of course, it is... I don't like this expression. It is idiot proof to a large extent. And so nothing has happened. And it's amazing and wonderful. And I absolutely love it. And yet another example of how the universe takes me through whatever it is when I state my intention that is my passion, and allows that to come to pass for me. Thank you. It's just very much fun. Now, sometimes people will come to us and say, you really should. One of my favorite words is should, right? Because if you have the thought or somebody tells you, well, you should, or you shouldn't, because, and oh, may we, if we could take that word out of the dictionary and send it into space, because chances are, if we should on ourselves or someone else shoulds on us, it's something that we didn't want to do or that we wanted to do that they're trying to protect us from ourselves. Sometimes, well, you should or you shouldn't. And for that, the other word in the dictionary is no. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and I hate to repeat myself, but it's valuable to me, and it might be for you too, very quickly to just share ideas on no. I don't know about you, but I can sometimes spend a lot of time on all the reasons why. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I so appreciate that. And then I go on for 5 or 10 minutes why I can't do that. The sacred no, and this is from an article in Inc. magazine, and if you'd like, I'm happy to send you the link for that. But so getting away from the over-explaining and the over-explaining. So the appreciation. Thank you. I so appreciate your thinking of me. That's not in my schedule, or I don't choose to do that, or I don't have time to do that right now. But that's a great idea, and I wish you all the best. Gotta go. 30 seconds or less of no. Some wise person, not me, once said no is a complete sentence. Right? And you might need a little bit more than that, but thank you so much, but that's not mine to do. And that's okay. Not only is that okay, but it's really okay. Ever said yes to something and then regret regret your saying yes, and then resent you for asking me because you knew I was going to say yes. So instead, come from that integrity, from that place of wisdom and knowing within ourselves in deciding what's ours to do and what's not. And either way is just fine. We might have come to this point as someone's sons or daughters, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, or as well as parents and grandparents. We come with some ideas on how life is and our wisdom and our worth and all the rest of that. And I really want to do that, but am I being foolish? Is this just a really silly idea? Am I going to make a fool of myself? And consider this quote. This is also from Jamie Veron's book. Oh, before we do that, look at this. It's never too late to reinvent yourself. Start a new career at 40, fall in love at 50, learn to dance at 60, start a whole new life at 70. Stop saying you can't. You can and you should. Dreams don't have an expiration. If it lights you up, there must be a way to do that. There we go. So when we have these ideas and have this passion, how important it is for us to trust ourselves. Self-trust is a personal revolution, and it's built the same way other trust is built. It's earned. You have to keep your promises to yourself. You have to really listen to your own needs. You have to stop suppressing your emotions and instead hear them. You have to learn how to turn off the noise of the world and find the still, quiet whisper of your own intuition. You have to opt out of whatever is dulling you, whatever is unhealthy for you, and replace it with something generative and kind and peaceful. When you trust yourself, you hold yourself. It's knowing the difference between what's real within and what has been programmed into you. Do we trust ourselves to make the decision? Thank you so much for your concern. I really appreciate that. But I know what's best for me. I know the direction I'm being guided. I know what's right for me. So I have one more quote from Topher. It takes courage to step beyond the place where you are comfortable. And of course, that's exactly what we're talking about today, what we know how to do. To reach out and take hold of a future that is uncertain. But once you do it, once you take those risks, you realize how powerful you truly are. And like a light switch being turned on for the first time, your world becomes brighter and your future becomes more clear because you have tapped into your purpose. And that purpose will bring meaning and joy to your life. So what are you here to do? And now that you did for some dear ones, so we did what we came here to do, and so what's next for us to do? Because you do this for a while, and then you turn the page, and there's a new chapter. So what's next for dear ones who are at that point? What lights you up? What's next for you? Because what I know is you weren't born to just pay bills and die. You know, yes. We can so often, we can slip into that drudgery and that belief that somehow, oh dear God. But no. We're not just here to pay bills and die. We're here to express and experience all the good that life has for us, and that includes write your check to SCG&E, or go online or your phone or however you do it, and then go out and create that life. That's what we're here to do. I'd like to close with a quote from The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker, and I invite you, if you would like, to read this with me. The infinite mind knows no inflexibility. It never retreats to the past. It never destroys itself. I am this mind in action. My consciousness is this mind in expression. God's mind is up to date, so my consciousness is up to date. It is flexible. There is no calcification in it. All old ruts of thinking are now obliterated and gone. New ideas are mine. I accept them, assimilate them, circulate them, and express them. My mind is clean, fresh, and creative. God thinks in me, and I am nourished by inspiration as a result. My creativity is amazing. It renews and recreates my whole experience. I am a new person with a fresh mind, living in an interesting world. My subconscious mind accepts this treatment, and it is so right now. And so it is.
Just do it. Don't talk about it. Don't put it off. Just do it. Just say it. I'll speak my truth. I'll state my needs. Just say it. Just claim it. Act as if you know it's done. Just claim it. Just breathe. Breathe in faith. Breathe out fear. Just breathe. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Oh, do it. Just do it. Come on, do it. I'm gonna give myself a gentle push. I'm gonna start today. Just do it. Don't talk about it. Don't put it off. Just do it. Just trust. Trust. Trust myself. Trust myself. Trust my heart. Trust. Just trust. Just trust. Love. I'm gonna give love. I'm gonna show love. Just love. Faith. Faith. I have faith. I have faith. All is well. I have faith. Just do it. 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 Come on, do it. I'm gonna give myself a gentle push. I'm gonna start today. Hey, yeah! Every time I criticize and focus on my flaws, I don't realize that I am worthy and capable, and I deserve to have it all. So now's my time to rise and shine, go for the dreams that are in my mind. Take one small step and not be afraid, cause with faith and love, I've got it made. Just do it. Just do it. Don't talk about it. Don't put it off. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Whatever I want. Whatever I want. I'll start today. Hey, just do it. 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 Just watch me do it. I'm gonna give myself a gentle push. I'm gonna start today. Just do it.